It's a beautiful place out here, isn't it?
Yes, I love it.
I know. Excited to get started and have a good place for these guys to come and recover and heal.
You know, I just love that we're considering that holistic approach where healing the mind, the body, the soul, you know, having that spiritual concept and the nutrition, physical fitness, and the family program too. I think that's going to be really, really key.
And really, there's not another one around here that's going to offer the types of treatment that we're going to offer. You know, this is not an institution. So when we first started looking at this place, it was James, Joey, and Trey. We were on the balcony talking about what this place could be. And as we were talking, James pointed out, and there was a bald eagle sitting in the tree out here. And we were thinking of a name too at the same time, and James said, Eagle Lake Recovery. That's what we're going to call it. And he went home that evening and made a logo, and really that's kind of where it started. You know, I've experienced substance abuse, not personally, but within my family. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind this.
All of these things we have to take into consideration when you're doing a holistic approach to treatment. And it's something that nobody else does around here.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what's gonna set us apart.
So my name is Chris Jones. I've lived in Ouachita Parish or Lincoln Parish for the past 46 years, my entire life. I've lived in Shudrint for the last 5 years, and I've been the principal the past 2 years here.
My name is Jessie Bryan. I'm a counselor at Shudrint High School here in Lincoln Parish. I have been a school counselor for the last 16 years. As a counselor, I just see the impacts on our students of substance abuse. Our students whose parents struggle with substance abuse are at a significantly higher rate of struggling with anxiety, depression, than the students themselves often also struggle with substance abuse. The more opportunities that we have locally, the more likely it's going to help our students. For a person to be completely healed and whole, they need balance in their life. I think you need balance socially, psychologically, physically, spiritually.
And I believe that church life is very important here to our community. And a lot of the men that would be coming here would sometimes have been active members in churches. And so I think you would be treating the entire individual at that point. Because our goal, I would think, in any type of addiction recovery is to reincorporate that person back into every facet of their life. So personally, I've got an older brother that has struggled with this since he was 15 years old. I've got an uncle who was probably very similar to the same age whenever he got involved with drugs. And it has wrecked my mom and my dad for the last 50 years of his life. An opportunity to come somewhere like this, where they could, get the treatment that they need. They would, be counseled. They could get a fishing pole and go out and catch a couple of fish in a day, and kind of feel like men, would be an opportunity that I think would have significantly impacted my brother and my uncle.
I have a dear friend who lives here locally in Lincoln Parish, who had a daughter who was 5 years old and a 6-week-old baby. He was married and struggling with substance abuse. He needed substance abuse treatment, but there were barriers to that. If there was a facility like this here locally, he would have had the opportunity to go in and get the treatment that he truly needed.
The opportunity for vocational training, the opportunity to treat them holistically, and basically turn somebody out, after a little while, that can go out in society and can function. That's something that we should all strive to do.
I absolutely feel like a center here locally that focuses on trauma would be absolutely beneficial for our local residents. The thing that excites me most about the possibility of this facility is that it's going to give hope. Our kids need hope, our families need hope, and this is such a wonderful opportunity for that.
I'm Edward Bell, live in Ruston, Louisiana. I've been a professor at Louisiana Tech University for the last 20 years and working in the area of rehabilitation for adults who are blind.
I'm Maria Bell. We have been married for 25 years. We have 2 daughters, 23 and 20 years old, and we are officially empty nesters. Our family's recovery journey started back as far as 2020. And late that year, I tried to find resources for help. And we did not actually find anything that was helpful until more than 2 years later.
When I finally got to the point where I agreed that I needed to get some sort of help. Now, I myself am a blind person, so I don't drive. I have to depend on other people for transportation. And so even considering any kind of a facility that's any distance from home, it is almost a non-starter. I decided to go just to a basic detox facility, which was another hour and a half away. Didn't really help me much at all.
We wanted something that had we knew it was going to have some sort of spiritual component, that it was going to have something beyond clinical.
You know, lack of access or lack of easy access, you know, nearly resulted in my death. I've been very successful this time, but it's taken a significant financial and time commitment that I don't think the average person would be willing to do.
When Eddie's drinking was getting very much out of control, and I first started making phone calls to try to find some help for him, it was devastating. I had been trying to cope with his drinking for a lot of years, and I finally reached out for help, and I was told that they couldn't help, and I wasn't given I said, if you can't help me, where do I go? And they said, well, we don't know, but good luck. It shouldn't be so hard to get help. When someone finally admitted they had a problem and they really were very sincere about getting help, that should be what you have to overcome. I grew up with a father who was an alcoholic, and my father ultimately committed suicide. And so when Eddie got to his lowest point, I had to come to the realization that I might actually have to live through what my mom lived through in losing her husband. And I think, again, it was very frustrating and just devastating to know that if we had been able to get help promptly, if we had been able to get good, comprehensive help, we wouldn't have sunk to that level. And I think that I had to come to grips that I could potentially lose my husband and have to finish raising our girls on my own. Luckily, it didn't come to that, and it's been, we found some help. We found people and support, and we know that we're still not done with this journey, that it's a lifelong journey, and we found people and we found a support system to help us stay on the path that we're currently on. Having a facility like this would have been a huge game changer for us. I think that Eddie would have been much more receptive to going for treatment. I think he would have been more receptive for staying as long as it took for him to be able to be successful in his treatment. And I think it would have been helpful to have something like this that our family could easily get to, that I could get to work on a family component of the recovery process. I remember thinking, I wish there was something for me. I wish there was a treatment facility for me to know how to put our lives back together again. And I think that there has to be some sort of system that takes families into consideration, takes spouses into consideration, in how you can help the person but help yourself.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited about the potential of this new program here. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, addiction is simply a matter of removing the alcohol or the addictive substance, but the reality is that people who are dealing with addiction are dealing with very significant, you know, mental health issues, feelings of inadequacy, identity as a man. And so having a facility, you know, all men who live together, work together, are struggling with recovery together, and coupled with the supports, the spiritual guidance, the focus on vocational training, the focus on physical health and engagement in the community and whatnot, I think is really what's key. And I think this is the only opportunity that's going to happen in Lincoln Parish.